Now, this was a joke. I mean, just instead of 50, you said 15 against 4, and they said, okay, let's do a 7.5 against 2.
Ah, okay.
But
I
I
didn't.
mean, the easiest way is to do the 3 against 4 and then do
Oh,
quintuple.
wait, hold on, hold on, hold on. I know that yours is the most modern processor. I understand that, but we all have to get into the same boat. Okay, there is a joke on this 7.5 against 2. How many of you know this group called Akamun? Yeah, this is a very, very uh, a popular group which uses a lot of Carnatic concepts. So they were working with this amazing, one of the greatest Mridangam maestros of Carnatic music, K. Sivaraman, Umiyalpuram K. Sivaraman. And the lead guy, uh, Francesco, or no, sorry, Fabrizio Cazzo, he he told me about this joke. Stefan Galan, the drummer, he was talking about a composition in 10.5 beats. So Sivaraman sir was like, "What do you mean by 10.5 beats?" I said, "Yeah, 10.5 beats. You know, like 10 beats and a half beat." Okay, can you please show me 10 beats? He said like one, two, three, four, five, six, seven, eight, nine, 10. Oh, great. Can you show me 5 beats? One, two, three, four, five. Can you show me 2 beats? One, two. Can you show me one? One. Can you show me half beat? He could not do it. And then Shivaraman sir said that you never talk in half numbers. You always say, you either say it is 21, you know, doesn't matter if it's in quarter notes or 8 notes or 16 notes, but never ever say half. So this is like a joke that Fabrizio told me. So when I saw this half, I just remembered that. Okay, so the suggestion and the right answer by Flavio is we do a triplet like takita tak in a cycle of 4/4 takita 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 takita, and then make a grouping of 4 on the triplet. So takadimi, and then isolate the tas takadimi ta 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 digina tota ta ta digina tota digina tota digina tota digina tota digina tota digina tota digina tota. So put the quintuplets on that. So I tried this for many years, and then a lot of purists in over here, they said this is wrong. You cannot do this. This is bad. This is wrong. And they said like unless you could define what you have for per beat, then only we can accept that. So then I asked them like whenever they do they play triplets, they always go dim dim da dim da. So they're doing this 3 against 2. And then I asked them like, okay, you're not like 3 against 2 is like 1.5 per beat. So how do you explain that? They said no 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 no, we are only muting the one which is in the middle. So how would I convince these people, because this 3 against 4 and superimposing 5 on top of those three accents becomes 15 against 4, but they don't accept that. So there should be an answer for this. So what I went through for the next few days was complete hell. It's a devil's workshop in my mind. I could not sleep for almost a week, and then finally I came up with something that I thought might be pretty close to explain what I'm doing. So, what I came up with was this one. Do you see this? Yeah. So, what happened here was 15 against 4 is nothing but you have 15 subdivisions per beat. So here I have used takadimbi, takajondo, takita, takadimi. So very slowly, if we look at this, takadimbi, takajondo, takita, takadimbi, takadimbi, takajondo, takita. So it's 8, it's 4, 4, 3, 4, right? So just say it with me. 3, 4. Takadimbi, takajondo, takita, takadimbi, takadimbi, takajondo, takita, takadimbi, takadimbi, takajondo, takita, takadimbi, takadim, takajondo, takita, takadimbita. Right? So instead of doing 15 4 times, I thought of doing 4 15 times. Right? Is that also possible? Like takadimbi, takajondo, takita, takadim is 1 time 15, so I do it 4 times, then it is 60 totally. I would do takadimbi, 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 takadimbi. Then I placed it. It says my internet is not stable. Am I frozen?
You know, but you slowed way down in your 15.
That was hard to follow.
Okay, where was it? Where was it?
One more. Well, we get the idea. 15 times takadimi.
Okay, 15 times takadimi, and then place it on with the idea of having 15 notes per beat. We place it on four quarter notes, so it will be takadimbi, 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 ta. Right? Shall we try that? So you clap. You understand this parenthesis, right? We'll clap on those. Yeah. 3, go. Takadimbi, 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 ta. Yeah. One more time. 1, 2, 3, go. Takadimbi, 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 takadim, takadim, takadimbi, 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 ta. Yeah, Dagmar, what's so funny about it?
It's slowing down, so it's getting really slow in the middle and then fasting up, speeding up as well. It's the connection.
Okay. Shall I change this 1 minute? I'll just change the thing here. Sorry. Okay.
So instead of, Francesco asked a question.
Uh-huh.
So instead of the you're saying the meter is now 15, 16? Is that what you're doing it in 15?
Yes. 15 subdivisions per beat.
15 subdivisions per beat. So takadimi, 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 ta. So actually you're doing the tuplet and grouping method. You're actually doing because we're doing 15 against 6. So that would be 15 tuplets in groups of 16.
I don't know whatever you're saying.
You see, sorry, it's just the same thing that above. Instead of saying takadimi, takajuno, takita, takadimi, we just always say takadimis, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I understand.
So this is like a 15, the grouping of 15 multiplied by 4 times.
Yeah.
So now it is groupings of 4 multiplied by 15 times.
Yeah, okay, it's the same meter, yes?
Same meter. Same meter.
Chatushra, let's say.
I mean, like, it's not four subdivisions per beat. That's for sure.
It's not.
So as you see the parenthesis here, it is takadimi, 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 takadi, right?
Yeah.
Which is 15 per beat still.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
Yeah. Then mitaka dimitaka 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 is 15.
Okay.
Dimitaka 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 dimita 15. Kadimita 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 kadimi 15.
Okay. Got it. Yeah.
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 So let's try this step once and this step once. Okay. Shall we try that? Taka dimbe taka junda takita taka dimbe. 1, 2, 3, go. Taka dimbe taka junda takita taka dimbe 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 ta. Now we will only do the ta. That's a big challenge. Okay. So there are three ways of doing the ta. One is the ta as it's ta, then ta ta ta. So there should be one more dot here. I'm sorry I missed it. So it's a PDF. So it's a ta ta. So this will be ta 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 ta. So this one I'm using the first one. Then ta 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 ta. This one. Then ta 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 ta. This one. And then ta ta ta. Do you follow that? So ta 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 ta. So wherever you have the you put the beat. Okay. 3, go. Ta. So the first ta gets the beat. Okay. That's always there. 3, go. Ta 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 ta. Speed up. Ta 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 di gi na atom ta di gi na sorry ta di gi na atom ta di gi na tom 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 ta. How is that?
I get it.
Okay. So is this more explainable putting it on the paper, or is it still abstract?
It's super cool. Thank you.
Even 10 against 3, you can employ the same method. Like you can have 10 subdivisions per beat and then make it 3 instead of having 3 times 10, you can have 10 times 3. So tadiginato 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 tadigin takita 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 ta. One more time. Somebody's mic is on. Tadiginato 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 takita 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 ta 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 di gi na tom 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 ta.
Is there a speed at which you can't maintain the subdivision anymore?
Depends on the capacity of the individual.
How about the capacity of your individual?
If I'm a computer, then there is no limit.
Okay,
What can I say?
Yeah, I have a question. This is really inspiring and good. When looking at this, I sense that if I'm going to practice this, I might feel that it's quite a step between the 3 different steps here. The
Yeah.
first one where you have the sort of easy Trollkattu within 1 beat, and then changing to just 1 phrase and then putting the rests there. When you practice this, did you have any sort of practice ways in between those steps? Was it easy for you to go from the first one to the next and then the third one, or did you use any specific tools?
I had to be very slow during these steps. So until I had a good hold of the first step, I would not go to the second one. And then by the time I came up with this idea, I had a great hold on this ta 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 ata ta 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 ata. My 5 against 4 was really strong. So I remembered those phrasing ta 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 ata ta 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 ta. Anything that has to go with 4, like for example, if I had to go 7 against 4, ta ta ata ta ata ta ata ta ta ata ta ata ta ata ta ta ata ta ata ta ata. You know, this ways of looking at ta. If we can somehow master that, this is a piece of cake. This one.
Interesting. Thank you.
No problem. And then it grooves. It doesn't sound like you're doing the most difficult thing in the world. If it has to groove, it should be really grooving inside, not something like a trial. Normally what happens with these kind of things is that you're probably not, I wouldn't say all of us, but normally it's trial and error method. People always get adjusted after 2-3 times, right? They just don't hit on the nail. But probably with this, we might get closer to get it right the very first time. If we can get those things going straight, like rock solid, even 15 notes underneath, it's easier. Like for example, if you want to do 21 against 4, then the method is to have 21 subdivisions per beat 4 times, and then 4 21 times, and then divide it in this way. It's quite a reach, but I think it's quite effective.
Very good.
So this was one way. Flavio's one way. There is one more way. Oh my God. Want to hear that? Go for quintuplets. Okay. So, shall I stop sharing this screen?
No, you can leave it unless you need to.
Well, I don't need this to explain the next one.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
So quintuplets. So tadiginato, 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 tad. Make groupings of 4. So I'll do 1 time 4 beats quintuplets, and then do 5 times groupings of 4 over that. 3, go. Tadiginato, 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 tadigin. Takadimbi, 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 tadiginato, 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 takadimbi, 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 tam. If you can guess what's the next step, I'm sure all of you know.
Triplets.
Huh?
Triplets.
Triplets what?
Triplets instead of Takadimi, Takita.
Give it up for me, just Mr. Francesco. Beautiful. So Takadimi, 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 takita, 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 tadiginatum, 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 ta. So how to kind of like get hold of this takita? Not how did I practice was I always just changed one thing in the end, like takadimbi, 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 takita, takadimbi, 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 takita, takadimbi, 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 takita, takita, takadimbi, takadimbi, takita, takita, takadimbi, takita, 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 tadiginatum, 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 ta.
Are you also keeping track of where the tadiginaton? So so you have three groups of 5, 3 tadiginatons, but are you correlating those also to the groups of 3?
Again, I go back. I'm a bit cheeky. I go back to the previous method. Ta-di-gi-na-atom, ta-di-gi-na-tom, ta-di-gi-na-tom, ta-di-gi-na-atom, ta-di-gi-na-tom, ta-di-gi-na-tom, ta-di-gi-na-atom, na-atom. So I can really think very fast. Those na-atom, gi-na-atom, you know. Yeah, Flavio.
Yes, I have a question because this is something that I'm doing sometimes, because if I need to play just on the bit, like the 15 or whatever, I could swim. Like, you know, I can take the spots of the 3 against 4 and then swim a bit the quintuplets. I know where it falls the 1. But sometimes I'm working on stuff where I need to play the bit. For example, I'm playing guitar, so I need to keep the 4, for example, with my bass. So what I would do is thinking the quintuplets. I mean, the way I do, maybe I'm stupid. It's like I'm thinking the quintuplets against 4. So I just keep the takadimi, takadimi, and then I just think the 16th of the takadimi, takadimi, and I subdivide it in 5. Ta to te ta 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 to te ta 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 to te ta ta, and I think the 5 against the 4 to get it really precise.
Yeah. You mean to say takadimi, 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 that one, that 4, and make 5 against 4. That's what
exactly.
you mean.
I think I don't think the quintuplets, like I don't think the big one make a quintuplets, but I still think takadimi, takadimi, and I keep the takadimi in my head, like the grid is 4. And I'm doing like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but I still think in 4 in order to be able to play the bass like in a stable way. I'm doing those lines.
Can you sing it once, Flavio? Because I don't understand.
I mean, let's say that I need to play 15 against 4.
Okay.
And but I need to play the 4 with my bass. So I'm playing guitar, so I need to do. The bass line is doing 1, 2, 3, 4. What I would do is like thinking in 4. Like let's say that I think like I think in 3. So I should devise 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Then I'm doing takadimi, 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 takadimi. So you have the takadimis.
Okay. Yeah.
And the bass is moving because they are like triplets.
So you were doing a 12 against 4 there. Takadimi, 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 ta. That's what you just did, right?
Yeah, I want to get the 3 against 4.
Right.
So basically I'm doing ti, ta, ta.
Right.
Ti, but I'm still
takadimi, 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 takadimi. Okay, so there. Okay, so there's no floating there. That's exactly right in the subject.
But I keep the bass. So on the takadimis now I want to get the 15.
Tadim, dim, tadim. So you get that pattern, right?
Yes. But what I want is now I want to play, instead of takadimi, I want to play 5 because I want to get the 15. So these takadimis, I'm thinking 5 against 4. You know,
fast 5 against 4. Fast 5 against 4, right?
Right. Okay, so you're right. So you're taking the 3 against 4 frame, the dim, 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 and putting quintuplets into that. Right. That's exactly the.
Yes, but but I don't think the quintuplets I think
Okay.
the quintuplets against 4 in order to keep stable if I want to play both lines.
Quintuplets against the
The
four.
thing is that I want to
four
get the three
triplets.
beats. I want to play the 4, I want to play the 3, and I want to play the 15.
So you're
In
going
order to play the 3 things.
So you have takadimi, 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 tatikitaton, 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 like that?
Yeah.
Tati- Well, there you were just doing 5 against 5. I was doing tatik tatik naton tatik naton tatik naton tatik naton ta.
1, 2.
Yeah.
Something
Maybe you have done 5 against 4 to X level in your life.
Well, I'm
Then
doing
only it's
I'm trying
possible.
to do these things like this. Like if I want to keep the 3 things, if I want to keep the 3 speeds and playing the 3 speeds, this is the way I figure out to work this. But still, maybe there's a shortcut that I don't have until now.
Well, I did the thing that's interesting. The thing I've learned about this session already is that this micro subdivision technique, which BC is using, he can employ that at a really fast speed, and so that is really a trick. Because I've never done that before. I tend to go through the big signposts. So deem, 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 deem. Okay, let's just fit some notes into that. So I'm just thinking 3 spots to aim for. But BC is he's subdividing each one of those notes and then knowing exactly where it falls according to the beat. And that to keep track of it on such a minute level is really great to see that that's possible. And that's probably the trick for all of us to develop, to have it sound like he does.
Can we go on? Okay.
Yeah.
This one everyone knows in this class now. Taditam, tadiginato ditam, right? All of us know. Taditam, tadiginato ditam, tadiginato tam, tadiginato 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 ta. Okay. We also know taditam, tadiginato ditam, tadiginato tam, tadiginato 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 ta. What's happening there?
Quintuplet subdivisions, I think.
Yes. Okay. Taditam. I'll do it 3 times. This one, and I'll change to something else. So please tell me what's happening. Okay. Taditam. Tadiginato ditam. Tadiginato tam. Tadiginato 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 ta.
You switch to 7.
How does that fit then? Okay, I'll show you the tala. Somebody has some observation on this? No. Okay, this fits in Adi tala. The first one is taditam, tadiginato, quintuplet. tadigina to tam, tadigina to tadigina to tadigin, taditam, tadigina to ditam, tadigina to tam, tadigina to tadigina to tadigina to taditam, tadigina to ditam, tadigina to tam, tadigina to tadigina to tadigina to taditam, tadigina to ditam, tadigina to tam, tadigina to tadigina to tadigina to tam. Fit it in Aditala like magic.
Well, I mean, I think you did the phrase 3 times to fit in.
Yeah.
So that means it would be some sextuplets. Would be a triplet speed.
This is exactly 15 against 4 concept. So we are doing 15 against 2 now. So
So
it's the triplet of Khanda. So instead of having tadiginato, tadiginato, it is tadiginato, 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 taditam, tadiginato, ditam. Where does it fall? 7.5. Taditam, tadiginato, ditam, tadiginato, tam, tadiginato, 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 taditam, tadiginato, ditam, tadiginato, tam, tadiginato, 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 ditam, tadiginato, tam, tadiginato, 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 tam.
Three against 2 speed.
So it will be tadiginato, 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 tadiginato. You can either phrase it like 4 groupings of 5 or tadiginato, 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 4 times of 3 groupings of 5.
Right. So it's not a tuplet, it's not sextuplets, but it is triplet. It is a triplet speed because you're going into quintuplets. The triplets of quintuplets.
So it's superimposing 5 over groups of 4 on the sextuplets.
Do you call that? Would you call that a gati?
No comments. Here they call it many names. A lot of people even say that, don't do that, it's wrong, but I believe in it. I really believe in this concept and I continue to do this whenever I get a chance. We can call it as Khanda Tishra.
Khanda Tishra, yeah.
If you want to call Tishra Khanda, then it is the same concept, but you're not doing tadiginato, tadiginato, tadiginato. You're doing takita, 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 takita. It's Tishra Khanda.
Yeah.
If you want to do Khanda Tishra, tadiginato, 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 it's the same.
Yeah. Same speed.
So, no, I don't want to give any names. They, in some schools in the West, they call it as Gati Bedam, which it's just their own invented terminology. So, yeah, Dave.
So there's essentially 7.5 notes in a beat there.
If you want to call so, or I will say fast 15, but you are doing every second note.
So if I can, for me, the way I explain this to myself would be to think, instead of would be to think 5 against 2 and then doing triplets on each one of the 5.
Exactly. That's another way. Ta ti ki na tom ta ti ki na tom takita 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 ta ditam ta diginda to ditam ta diginda to tam ta diginda to ta diginda to ta diginda to ta ditam ta diginda to ditam ta diginda to tam ta diginda to ta diginda to ta diginda to ta ditam ta diginda to ditam ta diginda to tam ta diginda to ta diginda to ta diginda to ta.
For me, this is much easier. If I think 5 against 2 and then I should divide, it's much easier to keep track.
Yeah, everyone can probably have their own methods, but did you ever, any of you try this tuplet?
To try to play, you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then do you know exactly like if you play a composition where, like, for example, a composition of 8 beats where it should end every time?
Well, mostly to me it happened when I read music. Like it's written, and then I figure out, I study, and then I know exactly where I need to focus. I need the supervision. But the thing is that this is the stupid thing. While sometimes I'm sick of reading music, because lots of things I've done, so I get faster in doing it again. But I'm used to forget immediately, because the next time will be another problem to solve.
Okay. Well, reading. There are a lot of people who take lessons from me. For them, I give a composition, they find it hard, I put the parenthesis. It's kind of like equivalent to Western notation. They sight read it, like whatever you put in front of them, in whichever tuplet, they just read it. I take it out, they cannot do it again. I said, like, you just did it. But I didn't even know what I was doing. It's like, I cannot comprehend that, So what does that mean? Like, you are trained only to understand, I don't know, to read, not understand what you play.
The meaning,
sorry.
The meaning is that for some studies in some ethnomusicologists do it, like Vincenzo Caporaletti with the audio-tattile theory, is that Western notation, when the Western notation comes, then there was some dividing, how can I say in English? I didn't prepare this, but there were a distinction. So the notation rules. So something which is which refers to the gestures, we as a Western musician with the notation, we forgot. So we are able to see the abstraction which is inside the notation, but we are not so much trained. Now it's changing, but we are not so much trained to feel the gestures and the intentionality and the feeling of the producing sounds. So I was convincing myself that this is also the reason for what we have some classical amazing musician who can just play fantastically with the notation. If you take out the notation, they cannot do anything. But they are crazy musicians, amazing. But without notations, it seems they are not able to play. I think this is for this. Because there are other cultures like Indian, also Indian culture is based on writing, but a different way of writing. In the medieval times, the notation, the Occidental way of writing music begins. We had this distinction. So this is the reason, in my opinion, and also for what I read.
Okay.
There are studies upon this. I am reading also this.
Oh, okay.
Well, to me, it happened, if I can say something, it happened a few years ago, like something that it stayed to me, because I had to write some pieces like for jazz musician. And I was writing some stuff like without time signatures. I had like a big band. And so I was really concerned about if they were used to read the music, which was a flow. So the rhythm was like proportional, but there was no bars. So I was really like, guys, can you read it? It's okay. Like, it's stressing to read music this way. And I got a fantastic answer from a musician, which really was for me shocking. He said to me, yes, of course, if I sit down and I read it and I study it, I can read. But the guy told me, like, I would be more interested in understanding what's going on, so that at the end, I don't need to play your notes, but I can play on the meaning of this music, my own notes. And this for me was fantastic, a very beautiful answer. And, as a classical musician, you don't, of course you can understand the music, you should understand the music. But lots of time, if you play in an orchestra, big ensemble, you just play a little role of the whole thing. So it's not really meant that you understand everything. No, it's not your job. Of course, it's better if you do, but it's not demanded.
But it's
Sure.
also, let me pipe in here, it's also a skill level that for what we do is very marketable. You know, we also have to be able to interpret on the spot, on the fly, by seeing what we read. Like if you're working in the studios, in the film music studios, they record direct to disc. So the awareness has to be of perfection of the visual transferring to the audio. It's not about reproducing again and reinterpreting. So that's, I mean, I'm one of these people that only sight reads and reproduces what I see on the paper. I'm absolutely that person. I mean, I have an oral memory, and once a piece is in me, it's in me, but I can't like sit down at the piano and play it unless I have the notes in front of me. It's true. However, if you give me the notes 10 minutes before I have to conduct it, I can conduct it.
Wow, that's awesome.
So it's just I would love to see a huge study done on this, you know, those who improvise and memorize and interpret like that, and those of us who are readers.
Can I just jump in on here? Just from my point of view, is I'm not like, I'm mostly a jazz musician, but I have been trained to read music, but I don't like sight read very well. But I think that like the reading of music makes you think more vertically, which I think, if you understand, like in terms of what's going on at one moment, it helps you to see that and just understand that. And as an improviser, I find that really useful. I really want to know, when I'm playing the bass, I want to know exactly what the drums are doing and exactly what the piano is doing. And even if it's not written down, I still try and picture it written down in some way in my head. And I feel like what I find really difficult is this more horizontal way of thinking about it, which I think comes more naturally to you, BC. Like when we were talking last week about, you know, you were asking, how do we do this? We've got notes that are 7 beats long, and then we got ones that are 6 beats long. And I say, well, I think of it in terms of the beat, and then I go one earlier, and I go, I mean, that's something that I'm used to doing. I really tried when I did the homework that you set to try and do the 90 BPM, perform that corvée in the 3 tuplets. I really tried to do it without writing it down and without putting the bar lines in, and to just do the ta-a-a-a-d. But I found it really difficult. I found it really difficult to say ta-a-a-a-d, because it's like adding extra stuff for me. It's like adding extra notes. I want to do it, but I had to give up. I couldn't do it this time. I had to go back to my own way of feeling the beat and just putting it, especially when it was speeding up like that. So it's really interesting, because you were like saying, yeah, but surely you can't do that when it's fast. And I'm thinking like, that's really when I need to do it my way, is when it's fast. Because I like to think of things vertically in terms of the beat.
Okay.
Partly why I'm doing this is to try and think that horizontal thing as well, because I think it's a really useful access to other stuff.
Awesome. Yeah. Per Anders?
Yeah, like what Dave said here, when going up to that tempo 90 BPM, something happens, at least in my way of hearing it. Like for instance, and so on. I feel like, oh, now I'm in some way in like 7 time. It's like 7 is the main beat. It's like a pivotal point. Am I really sure that I'm hearing the main pulse here? And if I just go down maybe to 80 BPM, it's like, okay, now I'm sure that I'm doing this over the beat and not the other way around. So speed is definitely a factor here, really.
Yeah.
But it was hard, but very good exercise.
So when we come to this, coming back to this, what I demonstrated, the last one, Khanda Tishra or Tishra Khanda, whatever you want to call. Shall we say that even for me, it's a new, I have not explored in that notation wise. Can that be notated? Can that be a homework? Like, for example, there are 3 things that you can do. One is either, if you cannot notate that in Western way, one is Western way. If you can find a way to notate that in Indian way, if you can't do either, then can you perform? one of these three things as homework. This, I'm sure,
Or all of them.
I can't notate this. I really want to learn that part, especially with this kind of
Well,
whatever.
I don't think it's no different than notating Tisra, right? You have to write Tisra there.
Is it possible to show how much is exactly adding up in one beat?
Well, see, that's the thing. Now we come to a moment where the tuplet, which is the number of subdivisions in the beat, is no longer a whole number.
I would say it's still, because I am thinking of 15 notes per beat,
Okay. Then
where you're doing it in half speed.
Yeah. Okay. Then you can always, so it's never 10 and a half. It's always 21. You can always double it, quadruple it, triple it till it comes to in a whole number.
Well, it'll be extremely difficult to read. I understand that, but still, for the heck of it, to see like we have a definite number of notes in one beat is what is more exciting.
You know, Dagmar just did an exercise which did exactly this, where she's subdividing each note into quintuplets and sextuplets, and really, really fine subdivisions. Yeah, we should pull that out and have a look. I don't know if maybe we look at that when we look at all the notations, because when you break it down into smaller and smaller subdivisions, then you can you can do whole numbers, and then it should work out.
I wanted to ask Dagmar about that because I saw that and I thought it looked great because you could really see the lining up. I wondered how, maybe it's a sort of technical computer question, but how do you actually do that in the, I don't know what program you're using, but like, how do you get it to ignore the bar lines and do you select an area and put control?
It's the program I use is a MuseScore. It's a very easy to use freeware notation. And there are bars, but subdivisions are so small that it's one bar per line. So you see bars. It's like 5 notes. Yeah, I subdivide each.
Is that my internet or someone?
It's breaking up here also.
Oh, okay. Can you guys see the notation here? So, do you want to explain it, Dagmar, or shall I explain it, or do you?
Yeah, sorry, my connection was interrupted.
You see what I typed? Your voice is really subdividing finely, like super finely.
Yes, you see, I subdivided each beat in 16 notes.
Here.
And then these 16s I subdivided again in the number of tuplets I wanted. So here in the second line, third bar, yes, second line, you have 2 subdivisions per 16. So we have 2. Yeah, it's a duina. How do you say duina? It's a 2 tuplet.
30-second notes.
Yeah,
That's
30 seconds notes. Yes, and here in the third line you see the it's subdivided in
shall I explain?
Yeah.
So the first line is where you have every 16th. So it's in the tuplet is according to the 16th note now. So here we have 1 note to a 16th. Here we have 2 notes to a 16th. So, and it's always groups of 5, right? So here, groups of, starting in the second bar, groups of 5, group of 5. And then here we have 30 seconds, groups of 5. Here we have a triplet, 30 seconds. So each 16th is in 3 notes. So taka 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 taka, and then in groups of 5. And then here she's doing 64th notes. And then now we have 16ths. What is that? What are triplet 64ths? I don't even know. And then here she has 7 notes to a beat, always in groups of 5. So it you know, when you play some of the like the new complexity music in the West, then you need to have these kinds of subdivisions going on.
Yeah, maybe it's an idea to listen to the performance of the computer I sent to you, Ned.
Okay.
To make it to get an idea how it sounds. I made the program play it at 24 BPM. I don't think it's on the website.
Oh,
I
I didn't
sent-
put it there.
No.
Oh, because you sent me the sound file. Yeah. Okay, let me
Yeah,
get that.
I had a video. I did a video of the computer playing this.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't put that on there.
Yeah. But I also can share that if you want.
Yeah, why don't you share it?
Yes, if I'm able to find it now. Let's see.
Oh, it's the video you just sent me.
No, that's another one.
Oh, sorry.
Sorry. Yeah, but I think I figured out. Let me just. So, do you see the video?
Yeah.
Okay, just stop me if you don't hear the sound, because without sound it doesn't have any sense.
It's working.
Cool. So this is 24 BPM, so it's really slow beat.
Okay, maybe that's we
Yes.
get the idea. It's
Yes.
really fast. And some parts of it sound like Reborns by Xenakis. I don't know if anyone knows that piece.
Yeah, it's a really fun exercise to try to clap on the beat, listening to it. It's like because it's really really slow.
So can you just go to the previous page, Ned? The third step where there is this triplet thing happening. Is there when the downbeat is happening? Is it striking some note on the on that? Is it?
Yes.
So
there's
every time the
always-
downbeat is striking some note.
Yes.
Ah, okay.
That's what
Hard
I
to
wanted
make
to
out.
see. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
too fast. It's really too fast.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted to see and to hear. The where the downbeat exactly falls.
Exactly. There's no
Yes.
downbeat which is like in between notes. No.
No, there's no doubt.
Ah, okay. This is awesome. So the one which I just demonstrated is possible with this kind of notation.
Yes.
Very much. But you have to find the way to write this whole composition. That's another story, no?
Yeah.
How to subdivide the tadit tam tadigina to dit tam tadigina to tam tadig, no? So, but
that
I'm
was a
curious.
question I have. If you're doing 15 against 4, and you're doing it as 3 times 5 over a 3 against 4, right? What happens when your groupings, like in this case, are not in groups of 5? Does that mean you are then you're slurring over the beat and you just know where the notes fall?
I always know the groupings of 5 in any composition.
Hmm.
Tadit tam tadigina to dit. You see, I know all those places where the 5 has to strike.
Ah. Right.
Even though I'm saying something with 7, 5, and I know exactly where the 5s are ending.
Right.
That's why we study these quintuplets, no?
Hmm.
To understand where exactly the groupings of 5 is following. I don't know if it makes sense.
Makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So so we can take all of our songs that we know and then clap 5 underneath it. Right? Just like I was, you like I like to practice them in 3, dun, 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 dun. Whatever, you just choose a melody and then clap 3 underneath it and see how far you can take it and keep it accurate. That's a kind of nice exercise that like I play when I'm bored.
Yeah, I have a method for that too, because normally what you said, like I do the same composition 3 times if it has to fit in the triplets, or do it 5 times, like any composition. It will come after repeating 5 times. If you're accurate enough, then keep it,
Yeah.
and another way is like to clap like what we did with 9. So just for 8, like taka dimmi taka jondo taka dimmi taka jondo taka dimmi taka jondo taka dimmi taka jondo taka dimmi taka jondo, then taka dimmi taka jondo taka dimmi. Just keep on changing the tuplet of the clapping. That's another way of doing it, So this is one. Great. So awesome. Maybe we have some time for questions or look into 1 or 2 homeworks.
Yeah. Well, I will. Let's see. I was going to say one thing, about what a tuplet is, because if you look at the word gati, right? So we take the Indian term for gati, which is subdivision of the beat, and so and that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 6, 7, right? So and Chaturashra, which is 4 in a beat, is also a gati, right? But we don't call but the first step is to think, oh, okay, well then gati is tuplet, because 3 triplets is a tuplet, so we call that tuplet, or quintuplets or sextuplets. But the problem is we don't call 4 16th notes in 4/4 a tuplet. We call those 4 16th notes because we have a system that's based on 4. So then our concept of tuplet is a subdivision which goes against the meter, right? So, and that's kind of makes a problem if you're going to translate the concept of gati to tuplet. So, okay, then what we could say is, okay, let's say a tuplet is indeed 4 16th notes is also a tuplet. Or if you're in 12/8, the 3/8 notes is also your tuplet. It's just 3 in a beat. And it may be given by the meter, but it's still, we can call that a tuplet. So then if you walk that backwards, then you can come to this definition, which I put in the chat. Where did I put that? A tuplet is a group of evenly spaced subdivisions within a specific duration of time. So now all of a sudden we're going outside of beats and we're just saying, here's a block of time and here's a number of notes in that time. So we could say, for example, 15 in the space of 8. So 15 16th notes in the space of 8 16th notes. So the right? The one we just ended up with. 15 against 2, you could also call it 15 against 2 quarter notes. Although the thing which kind of helps with tuplets is to maintain the same same thing meaning for both numbers, right? So if you say 15 against 2, you're saying 15 notes against 2 beats. So now first we're talking notes and we're talking beats. But if you say 15 against 8, then you're saying 15 notes against 8 16th notes, which fits over 2 beats. You understand? Anyway, so, but once you have, then you take this, so in the way the tuplet, it's influenced by Gati, but then when you take that, and then you can turn it back around and then influence Gati again and say that the 15 over 2 is also a Gati.
Why is it necessary for us, what we beat or what we hear is actually the pulse? Because there is silence and then you start counting on top of silence something. You say something on top of that. Let us say you directly, like you hear that, but I'm not hearing that, okay? This was a very classic question by Palgat Maniyar's son, you know? He said, like, let us say you walk into an auditorium, right? There is a performer playing something, right? And he's playing in triplets, okay? So suddenly when you enter, he converts that into quadruplets. But when you enter, you think that he's playing in 16ths. What would be the change for you?
Sorry, can you repeat it again?
When you enter an auditorium, the performer is performing something in triplets. Oh no, exactly, I will tell you what he was saying. No, this one. So he's performing in triplets. And then when you enter, he makes this transition from triplets to quadruplets. Okay. But when you enter, you think that he's playing in 16ths or Chaturashra. So when the change happens, what do you think would be the tuplet?
Well, it depends what the beat is, right?
You don't know. You simply think that if he's doing tadit takadinatam. So if he's doing tadit takadinatam, dit takadinatam, takadinatam. So I would think tadit takadinatam, dit takadinatam. That's what he's doing. So then if he's doing tadit takadinatam, dit takadinatam, takadinatam, tadit takadinatam, dit takadinatam, takadinatam, didadam, tam. So
Yeah.
I hear that transition, and that I don't know. Nobody's putting the tala, nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, you don't know until you have a reference.
Yeah. So this beat that we hear, if I hear this and if I start doing so I'm not hearing this beat. I'm hearing, instead of this, I'm hearing this. So where do you draw the line? Is it the thing that you believe that what you're hearing is the pulse or something else?
Well, this is a classic East versus West question, because in the Indian music, you will all play the same speed and the same phrase. And so it's in unison, then doesn't matter where the beat is because it's in unison. So if you want to hear it as in it still works just as well. In a lot of music in the West, we have this kind of weird attraction to put multiple layers at the same time.
Yeah.
So then we will put the we will make sure that 2 is articulated to show these speeds at the same time. And then it becomes then of course you do know what it is.
Nice. Flavio?
Yes, I think this is a good question because, for example, if I write a piece which is in 3/4, it's a solo piece, so not more people have to play together. It's a solo piece, and it's 3/4, and on the first bar I write 4 against 3, and the piece goes all the time 4 against 3. The question is, what is the sense of this operation? I could have written the piece already in 4 if you are. But the thing is that I think that the psychology, if you are thinking already, if you're thinking the 4 and you're subdividing a 4, which is against a 3 that you are feeling inside, I think this music will have another groove because your head is doing another operation.
Yeah.
You're not thinking for this. I think it could be interesting. It is the only sense the only answer that I found myself.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the notation system is one thing, and we can push it into these places where it goes against what it may seem like it's, you can make a tuplet which goes faster, but by articulating fewer notes, the music goes slower. So you can do all these contradictory things, and you could change meter every bar. So like I played that Ferniho piece where it did have a different meter in every bar, and it had a different tuplet against that meter in every bar. And within that, there were 4 other layers of tuplets. And so all sense of meter was gone, and that created a whole new experience.
I mean, one final question. Sorry, I like asking questions actually. Is it possible to play music which cannot be notated, or is there a possibility that you can notate anything?
I think there's music that cannot be notated. Also rhythm that couldn't be notated.
Definitely.
A lot of music.
Yeah.
A lot. Most of the music.
Probably nothing can be notated if you want to look at it.
Notation it's just a convention.
But notation is driving the whole music industry, yeah?
True.
Adam?
Yeah, and also then electroacoustic, or 20th century electronics in music is really, notation is just approximation.
There was
if you think about Edgar Varese, or first time when some kind of computer music was used, then we are talking about different types of notation. So notation in sense of computer language, not really a Western notation. And yeah.
Notation is like a map. It just shows you a limited amount of information. It doesn't show you the full detail of what the music.
Yeah.
Notation is just we had Descartes, Cartesio. It's just something which it's originated from Cartesio, but when talking about traditional music and ethnomusicology, when people started to study ethnomusicologies like Bartók and Kodaly and other people, when they record, they didn't know how to transcribe what they listen to and they hear, notating into the Western way. This is actually also now, this is a matter, this is a question, because there are so many informations, 90% of information in performing music which cannot be notated at all. And also when we see one notation of Chopin, also a manuscript of Mozart or Bach, okay, we know the scores, but we know nothing about how that music was played and listened. We know nothing. And this is the thing.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, perfect.
BC, what is the homework you would like us to do with this?
I already said one, which is like 3. Also, there was one more thing that I I forgot. One more thing. two homeworks I asked. One was this one to do the notation in either Western way or Indian way, or if you can perform it. Then there was one more thing. Composing a korve using non-Carnatic phrase, which you think you own it. Some phrase that you think you can use from your own background.
Instead of Takadina, we can say "I love you, baby" or something.
As you wish. I think you know what I mean. Is it? I like this abstractness of like not have a clear-cut idea. Even from my own side, I don't know what to expect, and I don't have an answer for these both homeworks.
This is an idea that we all take the same corvée and then put our own non-Carnatic phrases on that.
Then we are forcing. No, let it be your own stuff. Even a small, like 1 cycle corvée is also fine. Or like if you want to do 100 cycle corvée, that's also fine. But
okay,
yeah,
okay.
This is. What do you mean when you say notate the corvée in Kanda Tishra? You mean to notate the corvée in Kanda Tishra and to perform it?
Yeah, can you like what you do with notation? Like if you can notate that or this one also, or if you can perform, I don't know how to Ned, do you know what I was trying to tell?
Yeah, you have 3 options. Actually, you either notate it in Western, so this is the 3 against 2 with quintuplets inside. Then you get that speed, or you make a Indian notation where you somehow make it work. And then the third is you don't notate it, you just perform it.
In Kanda Tishra.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even if you can do it in 15 against 4, be very accurate, that will also be very awesome. Tadiginato, 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 taditam, tadiginato, ditam, tadiginato, tam, tadiginato, tadiginato, taditam, tadiginato, ditam, tadiginato, tam, tadiginato, 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 tam, tadiginato, di tam, tadiginato, tam, tadiginato, 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 ta.
Awesome. Hey, in that example you just did not, were you also watching the small beats and it was like just before the beat or just after? Okay. So that's I always find that's great, the way you can combine that technique with keeping the phrase going and then the notes that are maybe slurred for a couple notes. So that, yeah, I always find that's a place for improvement. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, let's call it a day.
Friday?
What time?
Oh, but you know what? I have a problem with Friday. Could we do it on Saturday? Or you guys meet without me, but Saturday the 10th, or we do it later. On Friday I'm teaching until 5. So we could do 5 to 7 on Friday, or maybe Saturday 4 to 6. Anyone wanna
5 to 7 on Saturday? That's what you said?
No. 5 to 7 on Friday, or
that works for me, but I don't know others.
Should we keep it